pounders. Today we're going to be talking about some waiver wire, start, sit, trades, a little bit of everything, week 3 advice to get you that dub. It doesn't matter if you're 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2, you are going to find something in this video to help you. Step 1, it is crucial, even if you're 1-1 right now, to win this week. And I'm feeling the pressure with losing Chubb, with having Deontay Johnson on IR as well for another 3 weeks, it looks like. So start sits are going to be more crucial now than ever. The people that spent 60, 50 plus fab on Jerome Ford, probably not too happy with the Kareem Hunt signing. Expected. I think it's going to end up just being some sort of gross timeshare eventually. After this week, you can just pretty much expect a timeshare. Now, players like Mostert, they become like a must start now, just with the landscape of running backs. And I'm sure everyone's run into the injury bug. ER7 says he's 0-2 and lost Chubb, and Ayuk is out tonight. That's a tough spot to be in. But right now, if you did draft for depth, is the best time to be going out there and sending trades. It doesn't matter if you have to package for upgrades. Look for those teams that suffered injuries like Dobbins, Chubb, Barkley's out. If that team started 0-2, they could be desperate to win this week. Eckler out. Just so many stud players out. You still have Jonathan Taylor, who's not returned yet. A couple more weeks for JT. And you can really target those teams and take advantage of them. It's sad to say, but you can take advantage of those teams that are in must-win situations. So we're going to go through. Let's just start with random cool stats that I found just kind of messing around here. And this is going to be on Fantasy Life's website. Just really fun tool to play around with. You can look at like average depth of target here for QBs, and we see Derek Carr leading the starting QBs. And this isn't a real surprise. This is why we loved Rashid Shaheed this season in Bestball, is because Derek Carr is not afraid to chuck the ball. Now, whether those passes are accurate or not, and actually he has a 64% completion rate right now. It's really good. And the YPA isn't bad either. He's top 10. You have Taysom Hill here. We're not really going to count as a QB, right? I mean, I guess we have to. That's a whole nother conversation. But Deshaun Watson, this should leave some steady production for Amari Cooper too. So Amari, dealing with that groin injury, actually did play on Monday Night Football, which was an absolute disaster for every team involved on Monday night, except for George Pickens. Everything else was a disaster. Running backs all over the place. Jalen Hurts, Tua here. Tannehill. Can we get on the Tannehill train? He's going to be serviceable. Now, Treylon Burks, he's definitely taken a back seat to DeAndre Hopkins. And it's not even close. We saw, if I could pull up the snap counts real quick too. The snap counts was the most worrying thing for Treylon Burks. I believe he went down to like 65%. Is that have to do with maintenance, with the injury that he suffered in preseason? Let me take a peek at this again, because I want to get this one right. He went down to 65%. D-Hop, Nick Westbrook, and they relied on the run heavy. So Derrick Henry got a bump, and his usage was super, super heavy for Henry last week. But something to keep an eye on. Maybe Henry is a trade target of ours now that he didn't crack 100 yards last week. So maybe your league mates will give him up for a little cheaper. And there is that threat of Tajay Spears. Tajay Spears saw the field for what? 37%. It's a lot, but it didn't really affect Derrick Henry's touches. So that's the positive there. Herbert, so we can go through and just sort of see some of these advanced stats that typically you have to pay for on other sites. Fantasy Life doing the Lord's work, putting it out there for free. T-God, welcome to the live stream. Says, should I pick up Jets to play over the Commanders or pick up a tight end to play over Waller, Ertz, Pitts, Schultz, Taysom, Joke? We got a ton of tight ends there. I think Ertz is definitely startable this week, which is just crazy to think. Waller against San Fran tonight. You can do it with the assumption that, Barkley's out, so they're not going to be relying on the run. So Waller should have a pretty safe floor of 5 catches, 45 yards, I would say, with the potential of getting into the end zone. I like the Jets D over playing the Pats. I don't think you have to really overthink that one. I think that game's going to be low scoring. But yeah, it's a worry with Zach Wilson and the Jets defense. The Jets defense would be so much easier of a start if you had Aaron Rodgers, sustained drives and all that. But against the Pats, I think you can safely roll out the Jets D. And yeah, you got to start your studs. Waller's the guy. Pick up the Jets, says Love Stars. Yeah, I agree with that. Ryan can get sacked 7 times and still put up 20. Yeah. Now, I want to see those rushing attempts go up. He did get into the end zone, Tannehill, last week, but he was just a value all offseason for Bestball. Running backs, let's check the routes. CMC dominating his routes for his team. Now, we saw 0 carries for Elijah Mitchell last week, and the coach was questioned on that. It seems like they're going to get him more involved this week. That probably means about 5 to 6 carries, I would think, that they would want to get Elijah Mitchell every week, especially San Fran. We expect them to be up, especially in this game, with a lead by halftime where they can sort of tone McCaffrey down, especially in the fourth quarter. We'll see if that continues this season, but expect Elijah Mitchell to earn some sort of role as a handcuff running back here. Bijan, Kyron Williams. The routes run. So that's just 77%. It's insane. And there's no threat. You got Cam Akers going to Minnesota, which was our hottest take all offseason, was Madison is A, not good, or B, they're going to add someone, or Dalvin Cook's going to re-sign. Now, it took a little while for the take to get there, but in the first 2 weeks, those defenses like Tampa Bay and Philly are no joke for rushing defense. So I don't think it's really too fair of a test for Madison. He was going to produce. And I think this week against the Chargers, if you have Madison, you could probably start him as a flex, but you're likely hoping he punches one in the end zone and you're selling him after a good week this week. 100% selling Madison before Cam Akers either earns a 40% roll or takes over the majority is a possibility. Welcome to the live stream, my man. Start Dallas Goedert, Jake Ferguson, non-PPR. I'm going Goddard here. And it's not even close. Jake Ferguson already starting to split snaps with the rookie Schoonmaker. Schoonmaker getting the end zone last week. Brandon Cooks expected to play, and they just run out a bunch of targets now. So it's not like that condensed Dallas offense that we once knew. They're getting everyone involved. Jalen Brooks, to who? Turpin's out there 18%. So they're mixing it up here. Gallup really not producing anything. But Hendershot and Schoonmaker both getting 36%. We see the snaps for Jake Ferguson go down to 60%. Just give me Goddard. You don't really want to overthink this one, in my opinion. Goddard seeing 96% of the snaps, 74 route. You have to. You have to go Goddard. Appreciate that. Commanders might have a hard couple weeks. Yeah, against Buffalo, it's going to be really tough to start the Commanders defense. I know whatever his face, freaking Josh Allen's been throwing picks and just turnovers left and right, but it's still a high-powered offense, right? You still have to deal with Diggs. You have Knox, who's potentially going to be ruled out. Could be a huge Kincaid week. Could be a 2023 Osborne. Love that. I'm not a Gallup guy, relatively cheap. So, I don't know, man. Osborne, so far, he's been out there. Like, he's getting the snaps. Osborne was out there for what? Like 90% plus last week? 97%. You see Addison. So, like, this team wants to throw the ball. So, a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. I think they can all produce. And KJ Osborne, obviously better for best ball than he is redraft, that's for sure, unless you're in a super deep league. KJ Osborne, Devontae Parker. This week, I'm going KJ Osborne. This week, I'm going KJ Osborne. Highest scoring game on the slate, or second highest. And Devontae Parker has the Jets. Give me Osborne. Minnesota versus the Chargers. Like, that game just seems like it could blow up. Scoot, welcome to the live stream. Without Ayuk, I wouldn't be surprised they use CMC more for pass catching today. Yeah. I saw a bet today on the Twitter machine, and it was, man, the odds were really good. I forget what the odds were. I don't want to misquote. The odds were really good. Like, something like 40-1 for like CMC having the most pass catching yards today. So reception yards. It's like, that is possible. Like, who in the Giants is really going to break that? Like Waller, maybe Hyatt. But, and then you have Ayuk out. So it's either going to be Debo, Kittle, or CMC. So it's like, man, that's actually a really sharp bet. But I'm not on that sports book, so I'm too lazy to create one. Josh, welcome to the live stream. Do I start Kenny Pickett with an easy Raiders matchup, or do I roll with the hot hand and start Baker versus the Eagles? I know. There's been some growing pains for Kenny Pickett in his second year. But again, the Browns, interconference matchup, those games are usually tougher anyways. I want to say Pickett so bad, but Baker's been good. You probably get similar production, to be honest. Easier matchup is the Raiders, but Baker against the Eagles, they're probably going to have to throw. You could tell yourself either story. I don't think it's going to be huge of a difference. Probably like a 3-point swing either way. Should I start Purdy or Burrow this week? Burrow didn't practice today, so I would probably just fire up Purdy, to be honest. Burrow hasn't looked good. He came off the field limping at the end of that game. That calf's not healthy. The calf is not healthy. I think you just have to start Purdy tonight against the Giants. It's so safe, too. Now, Purdy doesn't have Ayuk, but it's fine. Purdy still has a high floor. I'm going Purdy just because if Burrow doesn't play, and there's a chance he doesn't play. Yeah, down Deontay just seems gross. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough in Pittsburgh land right now. And going Baker. I love it. You know, Mike Evans has been crushing it. So it probably is the better play. Welcome to the live stream, Fantasy Dysfunctional. Let's go. Let's see what else we can find in here. Let's look at the targets for running backs. Bijan grabbing 24%. How much can you, like, 24% of what, though? You know, like week 1, they threw the ball 19 times, and he had 6 of those 19. So it's not a ton of pass volume in Atlanta, but this is still a really impressive number. Josh Jacobs, 19%. We expect Myers to be back this week. Barkley at 18%, not playing. Tony Pollard, 17%. If you could trade somehow for Pollard, he's going to eat. He's going to eat this season, especially with all the injuries to the elites. Just moves him up even further. Gibbs is another decent trade target, but this week might be the deciding factor, right? Like, if he only gets 9-10 carries with Montgomery out, it's not going to look too good. However, if he gets 18 touches on the ground, catches 5 balls, it's going to be too late to buy him. So I think Gibbs is eventually going to get there. Gibbs could be a nice buy low target right now, along with Stevenson. I'm a believer still in Ramondre Stevenson. Rashawn here, also a believer. If this man is on your waiver wire, please go ahead and pick Rashawn Johnson up. I still like people think, oh, like he's going to be the starter someday. Like that's possible. I would want it to be full point PPR. Half point, you still have to pick him up anyways, but this offense has to run the ball more. 4 touches for Rashawn, 5 touches for Khalil Herbert is not giving Justin Fields the help he needs. This team will eventually figure that out. They have to. They have to. Rashawn Johnson should not be on waivers, though. Already has that third down role. Donta Foreman, the third running back, there was a healthy scratch last week. Rashawn Johnson, a must add. Miles Sanders, we'll see. I don't even think Bryce Young's going to play this week. Didn't practice at all so far. Kind of low ceiling, medium floor. He's getting 15 plus touches a game, which is good. And just the environment of running backs right now, it's somebody. It's somebody. It's maybe a good buy low target. It's just going to depend on your running backs and your injury situation right now. But I tried trading Dotson for Miles Sanders because I had Dobbins go down and I had Nick Chubb go down. They know that. And I don't get the streamer love in my at-home league. Guy even called me right eye. He's like, you're suffering. And then he said no. I'm like, fuck. Cal, what's going on, dude? Welcome to the live stream. Peng, it's not like White will find space against the Eagles line. No, definitely not. He might catch 5 balls, though. Eagles line could... Yeah, that run defense is no joke. Bijan looks so good. Yeah, get that guy the ball in space. Please. Please. Early and often. ERC, Lawrenson, it's not close. Did I miss one? Did I miss a question here? ER7. Purdy or Trevor Law? Oh, yeah, you got to go T-Law. You got to go T-Law. Zay Jones might not play, which makes Christian Kirk a must start again this week. I think A.J. Dillon is startable if Jones sits. It looks like Jones is going to sit. If you had to, and I'm sure a lot of teams do, you could flex him, and he's just going to be touchdown reliant. He's going to be touchdown reliant, which is fine. Joe Mixon, good buy low target, but I am a little worried about Joe Burrow's health. He's getting 53% of the routes. Like, that's good for RBs. 14% of the target share is fine. And then 74% of the rush attempts. Like, he is the stone cold number 1 there. If we look at this, like, Joe Mixon is tied for he's number 1 for rush attempts for their offense. A decent buy low target for maybe the end of the season when Joe Burrow is going to be healthy. But right now I do worry about this offense if Joe Burrow even tweaks it. And it seems like he tweaked it last game because he was limping at the end. Madison, sell high. This isn't a surprise. And this is a shout out to Ping. He's been on James Conner all off season. James Conner is the stone cold number 1 there. You would like to see this go up right here, 9% targets. Get some more dump offs from Dobbs, but he's getting a heavy workload in that offense. ETN's a decent buy low as well, with Tank Bigsby really taking a backseat role. Maybe it has to do with the fumble week 1, but yeah, Dameon Pierce, just so many injuries to the O-line. It's crazy how many of these like backup running backs become starters this week. I think you can fire up Kelly again this week against Minnesota. Although like last week it was a gross start. I think you can go back to that well though. Jerome Ford, I think this is a trap. Does anyone else think Jerome Ford's a trap this week? Against Tennessee, number 1 rush defense. It just seems like a trap. Seems like a trap start. Yeah, Jones didn't practice again today. James Conner. Let's go. I'm happy about those James Conner shares. I'm not going to lie. T-Law over Jared Goff and Geno. He plays bad against the Texans. Richardson is also on waivers. Richardson is still a league winner. Like, you have to pick up Richardson. You have to pick up Richardson. Yeah, Josh agrees. Definitely a trap. against the Titans too. I can't even lap Michael Thomas PPR guy that isn't. Yeah, it's fine. He just needs to get into the end zone. Honestly, you're happy with the Michael Thomas usage right now and the fact that he isn't hurt after 2 games this season. You are happy with the usage. And actually, like the red zone targets, Michael Thomas is pulling just a ton of targets. Stars, Tennessee is probably the worst defense for running backs, but in DFS, Ford might still be able to be the best value. Ford, do you think so? Isn't that going to be super chalky though? And like the cheaper he is, like the more obvious it is of a play. I don't love that. Worst case, he's the flattest 10-point flex. Yeah, I agree with that. Let's go to wide receivers. And I know we had to put him on the thummy. 100% of routes ran. Devontae, where is he? Where is he? Devontae Parker was definitely. I wonder what happened. Could have swore he was 100% of the routes. All right, let's check here. This is going to give us. Maybe that averages both games, and he didn't play week 1. Yeah, he was out there for all 74 offensive snaps. Devontae Parker. Juju, not looking great. Kendrick Bourne obviously taking the back seat to Devontae Parker in 2 wide receiver sets. And they're just sprinkling in Demario Douglas and other people that don't matter. Hunter Henry, 92%. A lot of 2 tight end sets. We knew we were going to see this year under McDaniel or O'Brien. So not a huge surprise there. That's good for both tight ends. And Zeke. He looks terrible. He looks bad. So Stevenson's job is just all that more secure. And really the only receiver that you can even think about starting is Devontae Parker. And this week against the Jets, you can leave him on the bench. Please leave him on the bench. Targets. Let's take a peek. Puka taking the 1 spot with 39% of this team's targets. 39%. Disgusting. Parker, would I do this trade? I get Ford and Jacobs for Garrett Wilson and Madison. You get Ford and Jacobs for. I would, honestly, just because of Jacobs, I would instantly try to sell Ford. Garrett Wilson, Madison he's just landslide downward. So the best player in this trade, in my mind, is Jacobs, just because Garrett Wilson doesn't have Rodgers. If Tom Brady ends up a Jet somehow, or like they end up bringing in a QB that's serviceable, and like Carson Wentz isn't going to get Garrett Wilson there. He's not going to make Garrett Wilson a top 12 wide receiver. Jacobs is a top 12 running back, and I think you could easily sell Ford still before it's too late. Memes. Start 3, assuming they all play. Puka's a must start. Waddle's a must start. And DK. DK's going to play. Sore ribs. He's fine. Mike Williams, boomer bust. Could be the guy this week. Also might not be, but you like to see that the Chargers relied on the 2 pass catchers, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, both getting over 10 targets last week with Eckler out. So it does raise his floor. Typically a boom bust guy. Puka, Waddle, and DK, 100%. But man, that's a good problem to have. That's a really good problem to have. Devontae Adams, 35%. Tyreek Hill, 33%. Debo's going to eat tonight. Debo's absolutely going to eat tonight. Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins, and this is really hurting Treylon Burks. Garrett Wilson, but the team's not throwing the ball at all. It's going to be ugly for the Jets. So I'm trying to sell Garrett Wilson where I can. Keenan Allen, 28%. Just enormous. Zay Flowers. So we have an injury to Odell right now. So Zay Flowers goes back into flex range. And let's peek the snaps from Baltimore here. So, not great news for Bateman because, like, when Odell gets hurt, you're hoping that they just shuttle in Bateman, right? And instead, Aguilar gets some of those. Devin Duvernay gets some. And this dude, Duvernay can't run routes. Like we saw it last year when Bateman went down, when Andrews went down. He was the clear number one there, and his production didn't go up. So that was annoying. But yeah, so Bateman gets a slight bump here, but Aguilar dominated the targets, and he got the red zone touchdown. So Bateman you can still leave on the bench or the waivers. Zay Flowers definitely becomes startable this week. Again, if Odell is not playing. Marquise Brown, boomer bust type guy. Zach Ertz. This dude becomes startable. Like, until he shows that he's not, he's got a high floor still, and it's just, I can't believe what he's doing there in Arizona. Dobbs just relies on him. So Zach Ertz becomes a starter this week, like a fringe tight end 1, tight end 2. Crazy. Anyone else in here? Like Kirk, he's definitely startable with Zay Jones out. After a week 1 bust, week 2 he goes off against KC. Jaden Reed, just a better talent profile than Dobbs. Christian Watson's probably not playing this week too. So Reed could be a sneaky flex in deeper leagues. Elijah Moore had a terrible game. My God. In Houston, if they continue to throw the ball, like Robert Woods is getting there weekly, Nico Collins is getting there, and Nico Collins has the higher A dot, which you love to see. Let's see where he actually ranks. Nico's got to be up there. Nico Collins with 14.3. That's still really good. Some of these guys only get like a few snaps too. Jalen Hyatt, air yards 19%, A dot 30. Oh my God. But the target's at 5%. So if you look at targets and you try to see people that are over at least 10, 15%, highest is Slayton at 16%, 16.5% A dot, or 16.5 yards A dot. Jordan Addison, and they're still kind of working Addison back in. It's tough. Like, you need him to have a week. Right now he's like a sell high. You can't buy low on Addison right now with back-to-back games with touchdowns. You need him to have a bad game, and I'm going to buy Addison where I can. You can already see the snaps going up from 56% to 69%. KJ Osborne, still basically an every single down player. Just a lot of 3 wide receiver sets for this team. So yeah, Jordan Addison, I'm hoping he doesn't score a touchdown this week just so I can send some trade offers for him. Because right now, you can't even touch him. Kendrick Bourne, Lazard at 20, but that's just, it's gross. Van Jefferson can't catch anything. It's been a really rough go for Van Jeffy. Let's peek the routes. Mingo's running a ton of routes, but I don't think Bryce Young's going to play this week. Could be a huge problem there. Who's the backup? Is it Andy Dalton? Is Andy Dalton actually the backup in Carolina? That's probably a good thing for the receivers because Bryce Young's yards per attempt is really low. Really low. Pickens went off. Pierce is here. He's just not catching anything. Not a lot of separation there. It's interesting to just peek at. Curious what everyone's doing in Underdog with their elims. We went 3 for 3 this past week in the $50, and we went 17 for 19 in the little eliminator, and that had a 8 out of 10 advance rate. So we advanced at like 89%, 9% over, which isn't bad. We lost one by like 0.4. It was the team we drafted with Nez on the live stream. So RIP to that team. We still have one team left. We got a Davis and Dooley team here. Still alive. We got another Davis team. Shout out to Davis in the live stream. And we have one Nez squad left. Too much fun. And I went back and just sort of looked like what's working for those teams. And it's a lot of squads that are 3 QB, 3 or 4 tight end. Very, very interesting. Trying to push Myers through in a couple of those still. I have Deontay Johnson on like 5 lineups, which is disgusting. The thought process is there with the high floor guys, and we'll see. We'll see if we can advance a low advance rate Deontay Johnson in some of these teams. But yeah, any other questions, trades, people that you guys want to target? Like sell Mostert, pick up Rashawn Johnson off IR. Kendre Miller shouldn't be on the not off IR, off waivers. Pick up Kendre Miller. Can't start Kendre Miller this week with Tony Jones likely going to still have over 50% of the shares on the ground there, but Kendre Miller definitely is worth a waiver add before Sunday, with Jamal Williams not expected to play, with Kamara still on his 3-game suspension. You have one team eliminated so far. Didn't have many drafted overall. Thoughts? I feel like the Jaguars want to pass more than run. I'm considering ETN a sell on his next big game. It's tough, man. Like he's getting the targets though. He's getting the targets. And you want to see that. That's what didn't happen last year. So you can't be too mad with ETN. I don't know. This week is a great week for him too against Houston's bad run D, but I don't know, man. I like ETN for season long for redraft because he is steady, because there doesn't seem to be a huge looming running back kind of like going to take those rush attempts from him. Let's peek last week at the Jaguars running back shares. You see Tank Bigsby still around like 19%. Like ETN's the man. ETN's the man. So I'm not too worried about ETN in redraft. Who would you sell him for, right? Like are you stacked at running back? Like no teams I feel like in any of my redraft leagues can even trade a running back right now. It's just like cutthroat, like barely hanging on, starting like Brian Robinson and you name the next guy. That's Brian Robinson's actually heating up. One of the top running backs so far this season. Fair enough, he's a shoo-in for 15 touches. And that's what you want for redraft, though. You know? High-powered offense, 15 guaranteed touches. All the other running backs in the whole league are falling apart. Like, if you can somehow upgrade ETN for Tony Pollard, if you can package 2 players for Tony Pollard, like, I'd go and do that. But depth is, especially on my team, it's hard to come by right now. And I drafted for depth. And it's falling apart quick. It's falling apart quick. Let me read one of my squads here. I had to pick up Zach Charbonnet, Miller on the bench. Just hoping. Just praying with the Nick Chubb, Dobbins, and Deontay Johnson injury. We have Dotson in the flex. Mark Andrews, Brian Robinson, Dameon Pierce, Nico Collins, Metcalf, Lamb, and Prescott. Brutal. Just brutal times. Just get me through. I'm 1-1 in that league. If I can get one more win before Deontay Johnson gets back, I'll be fine. So it's just a matter of getting those start sits right. Better stash, Tajay Spears or Bigsby? Non-PPR, give me Bigsby. Still has a chance to take some red zone away towards the end of the season, where Tajay Spears is not going to be taking goal line carries away from Derrick Henry. Tajay Spears would be just strictly a handcuff if Henry went down. So, all right, guys. Hope everyone enjoys the game tonight. If you enjoyed the stream, smash the like on the way out. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Pounders.